Some curses weave destinies unknown. Elara stood in the clearing, trembling. The dark woods loomed around her, shadows whispering warnings of danger. Night pressed in, cold and suffocating. Moments ago, she'd faced her pack's rivals. A cruel offering for a brutal initiation. A cursed apple. They wanted her submission. They wanted her to break. But Elara was more than just an omega. She was a healer, a flicker of hope in an extinguished world. Her heart raced, pounding against her chest like a wild drum. She felt the raw power beneath her skin, a power that could change lives, if only she dared to claim it. The apple glimmered, taunting her in the flickering moonlight. Memories flooded her. Her father, once proud, a warrior now reduced to servitude, laboring under the weight of betrayal. Their family's legacy had crumbled, much like the dry leaves scattered at her feet. She felt the weight of that loss, the generational despair wrapping around her like a noose. A deep rage ignited within her. Why should she continue to obey? Her choices had ripples. Each decision had consequences. She wanted more, freedom, healing, for herself and her people. With a final deep breath, she touched the apple to her lips. The moment stretched, time fragmented. Power surged through her, overwhelming and electric. The world twisted, light and dark colliding in a chaotic dance before her eyes. Memories of desolation mixed with visions of brilliance. This curse was meant to bind her, but it ignited a flame, blossoming in her heart. Was she terrified? Absolutely. But did she feel hope? Yes. Kael, the brooding Alpha King, watched from a hidden vantage point in the dense underbrush. At 387 years old, he had seen centuries of battles and false alliances, countless souls crushed under ambition's heel. His eyes narrowed as he observed Elara, a fierce spirit standing unyielding against the weight of tradition. He'd known darkness, the kind that thrived in hearts long hardened. Yet here she was, a spark, pulling at something deeply buried within him. A challenge? A glimmer of hope? He had sworn to protect his kingdom from the uprising of rival packs. But could he dare to protect her? As Elara held the cursed apple, she felt both fragile and invincible, teetering on the cusp of something profound. The raw power twisted around her, and with every heartbeat, her determination grew. She would reclaim her story, rewrite the script forged by fate. Suddenly, a rustle broke the tension in the air. The rival wolves lurked nearby, shadows dripping with malice, plotting darkness against the light she had just reignited. Kael stepped closer from the shadows, every instinct pulling him forward. He sensed danger approaching, and something primal commanded him to act. As she turned to confront the lurking threat, their eyes met. Electric, charged. "Leave her alone," he growled, voice low yet resonant. Elara caught her breath. What would happen next? Would they fight? Would he save her? The night hung heavy, vibrating with uncertainty. The world around them felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for the first blow to be struck. Both stood ready, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and defiance. Would this cursed night end in submission? Or a liberating rebellion? The cursed apple, pressed to her lips, was more than a weapon. It was a catalyst, a possibility she had never dared to embrace. Kael watched, knowing this was just the beginning. Would their fates intertwine? Or would darkness prevail once more? With the tide of shadows threatening, Elara took one step forward. She was ready. Would he follow? Elara stood amidst the heavy silence of the woods, heart pounding harder than ever. The shadows beckoned, menacing and dark, as memories swirled around her like the autumn leaves dancing in the cold breeze. She had been born into a realm of expectations, a pack steeped in tradition, where roles were rigid and dreams suffocated. She had faced loss after crushing loss, each one sharpening her resolve, forging her spirit. It wasn't just survival, it was a rebellion. Her father had once been a proud warrior, fierce and respected. His laughter echoed through their home. She remembered warmth and light. But then came the betrayal, a slip in the alliance, and everything unraveled. The same rivals who now taunted her with the cursed apple had stripped her family of their legacy. Her father, reduced to a shadow of his former self, now served in silence, tending to gardens and cleaning chambers, while the world he'd fought for slipped further away. The weight of generations hung heavily around her neck, chains of despair and regret. Family history twisted in her mind like a dark vine, a legacy crumbling yet alive inside her. A healer, she prided herself on her powers, on the ability to mend broken bones and bruised hearts. The harder she fought to build her own future, the more she felt the shackles of her past attempting to pull her down. Tonight was different. She felt it in her bones. The cursed apple was not merely a test, it was her make-or-break moment. She longed for healing, not just for herself, but for her people. She could be a bridge to restore their fractured lives. The apple's lingering sweetness beckoned her, daring her to take the plunge into the abyss of uncertainty. But what awaited on the other side? What if the curse bound her to despair? Was she brave enough to break free? Kael, hidden in the shadows, contemplated the weight of her actions. His 387 years had been a tapestry woven with blood and loss. Every battle taught him about sacrifice, but they also robbed him of hope. He ruled with an iron fist not out of malice, but desperate protection, guarding against the sins of a past he couldn't escape. All his life, he'd sworn an oath, protect the kingdom, shield it from rival packs. But here was a chance to do more than just protect. Elara could be a lantern amid the growing night. Longing welled within him, an unfamiliar ache swirling around his hardened heart. What would her spirit ignite in the hearts of those who followed him? Could she be the spark that ignited change? As the cursed apple lay between them, options collided. Should he step into the light? Offer her his support? The moment was fragile, a pivot in time that could change everything. Nearby, the rival wolves circled. Sneering faces watched her, eyes brimming with wicked glee. They sensed her uncertainty. They lived to see her broken and yielding, and the darkness in their hearts thrived on fear. Kael's muscles tensed. He had to act. From the cover of shadows, he could sense her turmoil, the fear wrapping around her like a shroud. But then he saw her, or rather, the flicker of defiance in her gaze. Would she succumb to the curse, or would she face her fears, embrace the darkness instead? The breath caught in his throat as she turned towards the rival pack with a fierce gleam in her eyes. "I will not be your pawn," she declared, voice steady now, the courage emerging like dawn breaking over a dark horizon. Those words, simple yet powerful, tore through the night's air, and Kael felt the surge, a heat, a connection that ignited something deep within him. How far could this young healer go to reclaim her life? Would she heal herself, and, in turn, the fractured remnants of her family? Would adopted strength transform her into a beacon for others? Elara looked at Kael, fear mixing with determination. She could feel the depths of her own soul swelling with newfound strength. The cursed apple, once a symbol of submission, had sparked the will to rise up. Could this moment shatter the chains binding her past? "Yes," she whispered, hands steady. "I'm ready." As she stepped forward, Kael emerged from the shadows. Side by side, they faced the gathering storm, a united front against the malevolent forces lurking nearby. The rivalry, the curse, it no longer dictated her fate. What would happen now? Would they stand together against darkness? Would their paths weave into one, defying destiny's cruel hand? Together, they would uncover the truth buried beneath layers of lies, begin the journey of healing, not just within themselves, but for the heart of a kingdom in turmoil. The night surged around them, filled with electric tension and wild possibility. What awaited? Was it destruction or liberation? Time would tell, but they were ready to fight. They were ready to reclaim their story. The tension crackled in the crisp night air, a charged spell binding the clearing as Elara and Kael faced the rival pack together. Shadows shifted around them, forming uneasy silhouettes of disdain and threat. The rival wolves, emboldened by their numbers, began to snarl, hungry for the chaos they craved. "Think you can defy us?" the lead wolf growled, his voice laced with venom. The moonlight glinted off his fangs, sharp and menacing. "You're nothing but an omega, a healer. This is not your fight." Elara met his gaze, unwavering. "And yet here I stand. This is my fight now." There was a power in her declaration, one that reverberated through the earth beneath her feet. Kael's heart raced. She was unyielding. The air shifted again, their resolve clashing against a pool of malice. He could feel the gravity of the moment, the awakening of destinies intertwining. "Don't underestimate her," Kael interjected, voice steady but fierce. "Elara carries more strength than you'll ever know. You've underestimated us both." The rival wolves faltered, confusion rippling through their ranks at his declaration. "How noble of the king!" a sneering voice retorted from the back. "Defending a mere healer? You're a fool, Kael. You've condemned your kingdom for her." Elara's pulse quickened. Would their words shatter her newfound strength, or would they fuel the inferno within? She turned her gaze to Kael, and in that split second, their bond solidified. He wasn't just defending her, he was affirming her worth. Then, without warning, the lead wolf lunged. A flash of fur and teeth, a predator's instinct honed by years of enmity. Elara felt the world spin, fear threatening to surface. But she stood firm, heart racing. "No!" she cried, stepping forward. And then it happened. A surge of energy erupted from within her, casting a blinding light that cut through the darkness. The apple pulsed in her hand, amplifying her fierce will. The spellbinding light fanned outwards, blinding the attackers, startling them into a halt. Elara gasped, awash in the unexpected strength. "Stay behind me," Kael commanded, shielding her with his body, his presence a fortress against the looming threat. He faced the pack, wolves now stumbling back, awe mingling with fear in their eyes. "Impossible!" the lead wolf spat, shaking off the confusion like a wet dog. He steadied himself, glaring fiercely. "You think a spark of light can defeat us?" Kael gave a dark grin, readiness brimming in his stance. He had spent centuries preparing for this moment, every fight, every betrayal hardening him into the warrior he had become. "We are not alone," he announced, voice rich with authority. "Together, we can forge a new path, but if you seek chaos, you will find it returned tenfold." The lead wolf hesitated, doubt flickering through his vicious facade. From behind Kael, Elara closed her eyes, focusing on the power building within her. What had awakened inside her? This curse, this gift. She would wield it wisely. In that moment, with the world at stake, Elara embraced the brilliance of her healing powers. She reached deep into her spirit, feeling her abilities curl and unfurl like a vine stretching toward the sun. She stepped beside Kael, standing strong against the rival pack. "Face the truth," she urged, voice steady as she opened her eyes, now radiating with light. "You cannot extinguish our flame. Together, we will heal this kingdom!" The rival wolves bristled, their confidence fraying at the edges as they sensed an awakening of something monumental. "What power can you offer that we cannot destroy?" Another wolf barked, shifting nervously under the weight of their defiance. "Oh, you'll find out," Kael replied, his voice low and steady. He turned back to Elara. "Now, unleash it." Their united front burned brighter, suddenly a hot beacon in the chilling night. "Together!" Elara shouted. Instinctively, she reached for Kael, their palms touching as light emanated from their joined hands in a brilliant surge that seemed to source from the very core of the earth itself. Time stopped. For an endless moment, all that existed was the light, enveloping both Elara and Kael, swirling around them like a protective cocoon. The rival wolves recoiled, fear and confusion knitting on their faces. The lead wolf, who had once been so brimming with bravado, faltered, a flicker of disbelief dancing through his eyes as the energy swelled around the clearing. "Is your strength enough, or are you merely playing with fire?" he dared, but his voice trembled. Elara didn't flinch. With newfound confidence, the echoes of 1,000 healings surged through her blood. "We are not alone. This is just the beginning." With that, they charged forward, united, a tidal wave of light and hope against the shadows looming over them. Would they claim victory? Would the dark wolves bow to the radiant strength forged in courage and undeniable bond? Time would tell, but they were ready to face the storm. Elara felt it then, a sense of destiny embracing them. Together, they would confront whatever lay ahead. Together, they would break the chains of fear. The light surged, brighter and more intense, pulsating with energy that radiated hope. Elara and Kael moved as one, a whirlwind of unity and resolve, charging forward against the rival pack, who faltered, shifting nervously under the weight of the brilliant force before them. Shadows clung to their forms, but the light was blinding, a beacon that erased darkness. "Stand firm!" Kael bellowed, his voice booming, echoing through the hollow spaces among the trees. The ground trembled beneath them, reverberating with their combined strength. Elara felt the power coursing through her, intertwining with Kael's like vines reaching for the sun. As they pressed forward, something deep within her unwrapped. Her past, the pain, the fear, unfurled into a canvas of raw possibility. She was not just a healer, she was a warrior, driven by the will to reclaim everything that was stolen. She looked to Kael, locking eyes, their bond solidifying in the face of chaos. But even as they stood unified, the lead wolf rallied his pack. "We won't be cowed by your light. We've survived the darkness for too long." His growl resonated in the stillness, testing their resolve. Elara could feel their years of hatred, but her heart raced with the belief they could break this cycle. "Remember," Kael whispered, his voice low, his warm breath brushing her ear as he leaned closer. "Healing can cut deeper than the fiercest blade. Let it flow through you. Let the past guide you, but not bind you." Elara nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat, pushing aside doubts as she closed her eyes, feeling the energy swirling. She focused on the pain, the loss of her father, the betrayal of her pack, all woven into her spirit. Each heartbeat synchronized with the pulsing light, invigorating, unsheathing the warrior that had always lain hidden beneath. "Here," she called out, eyes still closed, reaching deep within her essence. "Take my strength." The light curled and coiled around the clearing, flickering colors bursting out of her hands, cascading like waves against the rival pack. Blinding, brilliant, it scattered their dark forms like leaves caught in a storm. Their howls echoed in confusion, turning to instinctual growls, a deadly dance of resistance. But Elara and Kael pressed on, the connection between them forging a path through the storm. The lead wolf stumbled back, disbelief coloring his expression. "What are you?" he barked, his bravado cracking. "Together we heal," Elara declared, expanding the vibrant energy around them, drawing strength from the very earth beneath her feet, the spirit of the forest responding to her call. All the life within it surged toward them, intertwining with her essence. "You can't extinguish this light." With every ounce of power, she sent waves of healing energy crashing toward the rival wolves, each pulse embedding the truth of her words into their minds. The realization skyrocketed through the air, piercing the veil of darkness they clutched so desperately. "What's happening?" One of the wolves cried out, eyes widening as the brilliance expanded. "The light? It's healing us?" Kael gripped Alara's hand tighter, a steadying force. "Yes, let go of the darkness. Embrace the possibility of change." The energy rippled and thrummed, breaking barriers long set in place. Elara poured forth her essence, the light like a rich river, cleansing and revitalizing, a channel of redemption. She saw glimpses of the wolves' heartaches, their own tales of betrayal, fear, and loss. Each flicker reflected back at her like shards of a shattered mirror, and she understood now. These were souls overshadowed by a history chained in strife. "We are more than this hostility." Dreams of hope intertwined with their fear, and slowly, the lead wolf's growl fell to silence, apprehension weaving through the rest of the pack. "Dare you to change the narrative?" Kael challenged, stepping forward, a fire burning in his eyes. "Fight for your future, like we fight for ours." Shadows flickered in and out, a pause hanging thick in the air as the rival wolves hesitated, caught in the glow of uncertainty. Elara sensed their vulnerability and stepped fully into her power. "It's not fear that binds us. It's our shared pain. We don't have to remain enemies." Suddenly, the lead wolf dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. "We've fought for so long. I don't want this anymore." The desperation echoed, a sigh of surrender layered with longing, the weight of generations bowing under the light. The moment hung in silence, crackling with the possibilities of change. Then, one by one, the wolves nodded, a flicker of unity bridging the gaps between them. Kael's grip softened as he felt the tension release. Yes, You'll find strength in healing as well, he encouraged, his bravery advancing the moment of truth. Together, we can forge a future where all thrive. Not just a few. Elara's heart surged. She reached out, their hands stretching across the battlefield, light wrapping around each of them, weaving their pasts into a new story. Join us, she beckoned, her voice ringing clear and unwavering. Let go of the chaos that binds. The light pulsed, and in that nexus of shared pain and desire, her heart screamed for connection, for understanding. It enveloped them, both the rival pack and her allies, and for the first time, Elara felt truly empowered. The echoes of the past began to fade, replaced by the tentative trust in their shared future. Would it hold danger or hope? What would it mean to rebuild? How would they navigate what lay ahead? But for tonight, they would stand united against the shadows. Together, Elara rallied, her voice stronger than before, radiating confidence. In healing, came the call from the rival wolves, tentative but undeniably resolute. And as Elara opened her eyes, she felt a profound change sweep over the clearing. They would weave solace through the remnants of their pain, a symphony of resilience emerging from the ashes of strife. What was once an engagement of foes transformed into an alliance, and as dawn began to break, it painted the world in hopeful hues, a canvas ready for rebirth. Would they build this future together? Would they truly embrace the path carving towards something their kind had never dared to dream? The first light of dawn heralded a new beginning, one marked not by the scars of their past, but by the hope they would create side by side. The dawn broke, illuminating the clearing in shades of gold and amber, washing away the shadows of the night. Elara stood amidst the rival pack, her pulse calming into a rhythmic steadiness as she breathed in the fresh morning air. The tension that had clung to her like a second skin now dissipated, replaced with something warm and unfamiliar. Hope. Kael stood beside her, his fierce presence grounding her as they faced the remnants of conflict. The rival wolves, once snarling and hostile, now wore expressions of genuine curiosity and tentative acceptance. It was an awakening, a fragile shift in the air, but it was enough. Today marks a new start, Elara spoke, her voice ringing clear like a bell, resonating with conviction that felt as solid as the earth beneath their feet. An opportunity to mend what has been broken. A wolf stepped forward cautiously, his fur the color of charcoal, eyes flickering with uncertainty. But healing takes time. We've been at war for too long. Can we just forget? Not forget, Kael responded, his demeanor calm yet fierce. But learn. Understand. Our pasts shaped us, but they don't have to define us. We can forge a new way. Elara stepped closer to the edge of the pack, the warmth of Kael's presence an inviting shield against the burgeoning vulnerability that rippled among the wolves. Let's start with honesty. Share your stories, she urged, her heart racing, each beat echoing a promise of salvation. What brought you here? What pain do you wish to heal? Silence blanketed the clearing, uncertain and thick as they all exchanged glances. Then, a brave voice called from the back, a soft, trembling sound. We lost our home, our families, betrayed by those we trusted most. The wolf stepped into the light, revealing a young female with spots of white across her brown coat. Now we bear the burden alone, strangers in a land once filled with kin. Elara met her gaze, the rawness of her truth resonating deep within. I understand. I lost my father and my place among my own pack, too. She felt the connection forming, tendrils of empathy weaving their stories together. But we have a chance to heal here, not just individually, but as a community. Another wolf took a step forward, his voice filled with anger. And what if we've lost too much? Can we truly rise from the ashes? Kael took a steadying breath. The road will be painful. But just as the dawn breaks to chase away the shadows, healing requires our willingness to face what lies ahead. He resonated with strength, a deep-rooted authority that could inspire even the weariest of souls. Today is not about burying wounds alive. It's about acknowledging them, recognizing the flaws, and then choosing to rebuild with trust. Elara nodded, her heart swelling as she absorbed his words. We can share the burden. Your pain is not magnetized to your kind alone. She reached out with her mind, her spirit searching through the gathering. Let us combine our energies. Together we will be stronger. One by one, the wolves began to step forward, hesitant at first, then gradually bolder, each voice unfolding a unique story: a mother lost to betrayal, children sent away in fear, elders trapped in cycles of vengeance. Elara listened, absorbing their sorrows, and with each shared story, the light vibrated through the clearing like the pulse of life itself. As their words hung heavy in the air, something monumental shifted among them. Those sorrowful moments transformed into threads, weaving a tapestry of understanding, hope knitting the worn edges together. And then it happened. Elara felt a ripple of energy surge through them all, a wave of collective realization. They were not alone. The laughter of a pup, the grin of an elder, all sparked within her, igniting every corner of her being. "Now!" Kael urged, excitement buoying his voice. "Let's take this energy and share it." He opened his arms wide, inviting them all into a circle, bridging the gap between their past fears and the hope of tomorrow. "We are here to heal, to bond unbreakable ties, to build a future where no one stands alone." Elara stepped to the center, the pulse in her heart igniting afresh. "Let's forge a new way together. Let the past be our guide, not our chains. Allow this healing light to flow through each of us." With unsteady yet determined hands, she reached to grip Kael's again. "All it takes is one step forward, the first of many. Will you join our unity?" Together, they formed a circle, their hands linked tightly, an embodiment of trust, redeeming every ounce of their shared stories. Every shred of pain now rising as a strengthens collective. A soft glow began to build at the center, an ethereal shimmer where their palms met. Electric energy pulsed outward like ripples in water, weaving between their ranks. Elara felt bonds sparking, flourishing, as the healing light infused their spirits, intertwining past sorrows into a shared strength. A cheer erupted, a hum of voices blending, some laughing, some crying, but all intertwined in the simplest revelation they'd witnessed. Together, inseparable. Then something unexpected happened. One by one, the wolves began to shift, flesh receding into fur, their forms morphing in fluid grace. Elara gasped, heart racing as they seamlessly transitioned into their Lycan forms. Beautifully powerful, a manifestation of the healing energy that thrummed throughout them. Ripples of laughter spread as they felt the thrill of their primal instincts awakening. Kael grinned, stepping back to shift alongside them, muscles rippling under the newly formed fur. "This is who we truly are," he announced, his voice a deep growl full of joy and excitement. Elara felt the energy wash over her, an indescribable pull to the wildness deep within her. "Join us!" she called, laughter bubbling through her spirit, eyes shining with light. "Let us explore the true nature of our pack." And as they ran together, the newfound pack intertwined in one destined pursuit, elation and an unbreakable bond. Would they become a beacon of hope for the realm? Would their journey reshape the legacy of their bloodlines forever? The answer lay beyond them, somewhere on the horizon of an awakened world, a destination formed from unity forged in trust. Elara felt alive, racing alongside Kael, heart filled with promise as they transcended the fear that once trapped them. As they broke into a sprint beneath the expanding light of the dawn, their laughter rang out, wild, fervent, unstoppable. Together they chased the night away, welcoming the first dawn of their newfound future. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the forest. Elara and her pack, transformed, alive, ran together, the rhythm of paws thumping against the earth resonating like a heartbeat. They were no longer defined by their past hurts. They were a blend of vibrant life, woven from trust and resilience. As they dashed through the trees, laughter erupted, echoing like music in the air. Elara felt every fiber of her being rejoicing in the wildness, embracing the freedom to be exactly who she was meant to be. No longer bound by fear, they raced toward a future filled with possibility. They emerged into a sun-drenched clearing, the soft grass swaying gently in the breeze. The sight was breathtaking, an endless expanse alive with energy. The pack slowed, panting lightly, while Kael stepped beside Elara, shedding his Lycan form. "Look at what we've created," he said, a grin spreading across his face. Elara shifted back too, a sense of exhilaration washing over her. "We've claimed our lives," she said, heart swelling with pride. "Together, we can show the world the power of healing." A young female wolf spoke out, her voice trembling yet bold. "I never thought I could feel this way again. We've suffered long, but now," her words cracked with emotion, "I feel alive." Elara stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We will never forget our pain. It's part of who we are, but it doesn't have to conquer us. We'll carry it as we build a future together." The elder wolf nodded, his age evident in his weathered face. "You are wise, young healer. It's time our past becomes lessons, not chains." Kael proposed, "Let's make this place our home, a sanctuary for all, where we can learn to heal." Discussion swirled among them, excitement mounting. Ideas sparked like fireflies in the night, visions of a communal haven emerging, a place of bonding and mutual support. "Together," Elara commanded, raising her hand, "let's build this sanctuary and start our new legacy." With a resounding cheer, hands joined in a circle, their hearts beating as one. The energy around them crackled with promise, solidifying their commitment to one another. They would create a home of healing, a place for kinship where pain would transform into strength. As days turned to weeks, the clearing transformed. They built structures, carved out paths, and tended to gardens, nurturing life around them. Elara delved deeper into healing, fusing herbs with magic, guiding others on the path of wellness. Kael trained their defenses, preparing for the challenges ahead. Each month, they gathered under the full moon, celebrating bonds forged through shared experiences. Elara felt fulfilled, a sense of belonging washing over her like a warm breeze. Yet, the legacy of what lay beyond still tugged at her heart. They couldn't forget the rival packs ensnared in old animosities. She turned to Kael one evening as the moon hung high. "We have to extend our peace to those still caught in hatred. Do you think they'll listen?" he asked, skepticism lacing his voice. "They will if we reach out," she replied, fire igniting in her spirit. "We must show them what unity feels like. Together, we are unbreakable." The crowd murmured in agreement, enthusiasm bubbling around her. They would not only redefine their destiny, but also reshape the narrative of their world, moving from strife to solidarity. With conviction, Elara addressed the gathering. "Let's welcome others to our sanctuary. Show them the healing that awaits. If we can change our destiny, we can inspire others." Her words hung in the air like the scent of blooming flowers, vibrant with hope. As they took to the road, traveling beyond their sanctuary, they faced uncertainty. Each step ahead was a testament to their resilience. Would the world embrace their vision? Time would tell, but standing together under the moonlit sky, they forged onward. Filled with courage and newfound purpose, they were ready to brave the unknown. Together, forever. What awaited them on this journey? Would they truly be able to guide others toward healing? Elara glanced at Kael, his eyes meeting hers, shining with shared determination. They were not just a pack anymore. They were a new dawn, and nothing could extinguish their light.